Roy Eacups, a self-proclaimed targeted individual and MKUltra survivor, runs the YouTube channel Targeted Individuals United. On April 14, 2025, Roy hosted a new episode of TI Talk, a regular live stream podcast that is part group therapy, part open mic, where self-identified TIs take turns recounting their experiences of persecution, surveillance, and betrayal.
So I'm trying to build up a little family where we're not going to stab each other in the back, where we're not going to get involved in tittle-tattle or nonsense that's going on with anybody else, because David was slandered last week, and it's not very nice when lies are being told about you. Anyway, David Atkins, it's over to you, mate. The floor's yours.
David claimed that in 2018, while working on foreclosed homes in Tennessee, he began experiencing harassment, blacklisting, and gang stalking, what some TIs call the silent kill. But just a week earlier, in a separate interview with Roy, David told a much more vivid story, one involving rural burglaries, a false kidnapping accusation, and a gunfight with the son of a property owner. In this one-on-one interview with Roy, David says he and his partner Candice Collier were lost in the Atchafalaya Basin for nearly a month, surviving on cabin food, first aid kits, and liquor. He admits to taking quarters from one cabin and shooting first when confronted by a man with an AR-15. The man shot back, grazing David's head. Wounded and fearing death, David reached for a bottle of liquor he had with him and chugged it down before blacking out. Candice claimed David had kidnapped and raped her, but she eventually confessed she made it all up to avoid getting charged for burglary. David woke up in the hospital surprised to still be alive. However, he was soon discharged from the hospital and booked for attempted second-degree murder. It's at this point that we should pause, because while David's story is full of chaos, contradiction, and a little backwards drama, not everyone in the TI community paints such a messy picture. Take Ana Toledo. Ana Toledo, an attorney and advisory board member for the non-profit Targeted Justice, frequently advocates for targeted individuals on X, formerly Twitter. Take a look at a few of her posts. January 27th, 2025. He needs to order an immediate halt to the firing of electromagnetic weapons that cause torture and Havana syndrome on innocent Americans, perpetrated by the US Space Force. Now! #targeted individuals. December 1st, 2024, the FBI illegally classifies innocent Americans as domestic terrorists and places them in two hidden categories of the terrorist screening database so that the CIA and the US Space Force can submit them to a life of torture. Going back to October 12, 2022, Ana wrote, "Targeted individuals are innocent civilians, gang-stalked and attacked by means of microwave weapons through 5G towers." At the end of her post, she added "Our Lives Matter" and linked to Targeted Justice's campaign, Targeted Lives Matter. Does that slogan sound familiar? So you can see that in Ana's world, TIs are innocent victims, wrongly labelled, wrongly hunted, wrongly punished. But if David is any example, maybe the line between target and trouble is just a bit harder to draw. Now, back to Roy's TI talk on April 14th, 2025. After David had recounted his story, his new girlfriend and fellow TI, Holly, who was adamant about not showing her face, wink wink, briefly shared her own experiences and frustration with other so-called TIs that she accused as being fake. These comments hit home with Roy, who has experience dealing with fake TIs. Unable to simply bite his lip any longer, and probably half soused, he spilled the beans.
They want us out the way now, right? Because they're making lots of money out of it. I showed the books last night, and they will make you cry of what Targeted Justice have taken. They're businesses. You know, that it's pure and utter business, and most people believe they're FBI, CIA, or whatever. And, you know, I've no reason to not believe that, because they've turned everybody against me. Ana Toledo went against me, Craig LaForest went against me, Len Bear went against me. So this has been a game. It's been to build their platform.
Yeah, you! targeted justice center. Fuck you! Fuck you! Targeted their justice sticker crew. Yeah, you! Targeted justice center. Fuck you! Fuck you! Targeted their justice sticker crew.
Clearly, there is bad blood between Roy and Targeted Justice. However, things weren't always like this. In fact, not too long ago, in 2023, Roy interviewed Ana Toledo a handful of times and had only good things to say about her and Targeted Justice. Most recently, he interviewed her on August 25th, 2023. In the introduction, Roy commended Ana.
And Anna wanted to come and have a chat, and I think the world of you, Anna, and thanks for everything you do, and thanks for coming to say hello. Over to you, darling.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy talking to you even if it's not in Zoom.
Did you catch what she said there at the end about talking in private? Going back to July 31st, 2023, Roy joined Len Bear and Ana Toledo on episode 17 of Targeted Justice v. Garland podcast. Roy proudly uploaded the interview to his YouTube and Rumble channels and retitled it, labeling Len and Ana as a pair of superstars. Earlier that same month, on July 20th, 2023, Roy uploaded another interview with Ana Toledo, who gave Roy a brief update on Targeted Justice's lawsuit. Roy responded kindly.
Thank you ever so much, Anna. I'm very grateful to you. God bless you and Targeted Justice.
Earlier that year, on February 5th, 2023, Ana joined Roy on his podcast, TI Talk. Right off the bat, Roy told Ana that she was very special. Now, if we go back to the beginning of 2023, we can see Ana Toledo's first interview with Roy on January 25th. In this nearly 90-minute interview, she delivered her testimony on her targeting. Roy made a statement, which now seems ironic. He implored the TI community to get along.
When I saw your video and you said about we need to be together in the target individual community, every single target individual that watches this, please don't fall out with each other. Please let us come together as a community. We all need each other very, very much.
This interview also appears to contain Roy's seed of suspicion. Roy told Ana, "Do you know, to me, you've given Targeted Justice credibility." He went on to add that prior to her joining Targeted Justice, guests on his show TI Talk had claimed that Targeted Justice only seemed interested in taking money from TIs, a sentiment that Roy was clearly in agreement with. So what happened? What made Roy sour on Ana Toledo and her colleagues at Targeted Justice? Well, if we go back to Roy's recent attack on Ana and Targeted Justice, it's obvious that he feels betrayed. Roy's disappointment sounds personal, like he thought the bond was real. But it's also about money that he alleges Targeted Justice has taken from other TIs. Are there two components at the crux of his new point of view? Betrayal, a relationship issue, and money, a financial issue? Or does his sentiment rest on a single factor? Is the bottom line money? Now, Roy's anger concerning money that he alleges Targeted Justice has taken from others might genuinely be driven in part by envy or a sense of justice, or both. For instance, in the recent episode of TI Talk, Roy also expressed irritation that Targeted Justice has, at least recently, been receiving many likes on social media that dwarf the support his own posts receive. Concerning justice, Roy alleged that Targeted Justice helped take $3,500 off of one of his Japanese friends, so he might feel a sense of duty to his friend and a need to right a wrong. However, envy and justice may only be minor players. The heart of the matter may simply be that Roy believes he missed out on revenue that should have been his, donations, monetization, the lot, his cut of the pie. In other words, Roy might think that Targeted Justice cut him out of future income from social media monetization and donations by using him to promote and expand their base, while simultaneously attacking him through online proxies and reducing his base. An interesting way to look at Roy's change of heart is to frame it within the context of the oldest profession. In fact, prostitution forms a part of Ana Toledo's testimony on how she became a TI, or her origin story, if you will. She discusses this in her first interview with Roy in January 2023.
I had no money. I even went hungry, because that's what they wanted to do with me, is force me into prostitution.
Ana went on to explain that her friends, colleagues, and even the husbands of friends discovered a pornographic profile of her. She claimed it was fake. Nevertheless, one by one, they began to pull away. So you see, it wasn't just money she lost, it was her social standing, her community. The damage went beyond the financial.
Hello, Ana. My name is Juan. I saw your profile online and I would like the girlfriend experience.
Ana's story adds another layer to this fallout. Her account of allegedly being pushed toward prostitution during the COVID lockdown isn't just a personal anecdote. It opens a window into how financial desperation, emotional vulnerability, and power dynamics can intertwine. It's this dynamic, emotional bonds shaped by money, that's explored in a 2020 Vice article titled, "What It's Like to Break Up with a Sex Work Client You Fell For." The piece follows sex workers who form deep connections with their clients, bonds that feel mutual, even real, until money reasserts itself as the dominant force. One quote stands out. A sex worker named Luna says,
"Relationships sex workers form with clients can be genuine, but the money is always the bottom line."
But when genuine emotion creeps in, when affection feels like connection and connection starts to blur the rules, things can get messy. Clients may wonder why they're paying for something that feels mutual. Workers may struggle to enforce boundaries when the relationship feels authentic. And in that confusion, in that blurring of affection and transaction, is where hurt begins. So what was it that turned Roy against Ana? Was it betrayal, a personal wound left unhealed? Was it money, an imagined or real injustice that cut too deep, or were the two always intertwined? When emotional bonds form around money, the lines blur. When admiration starts to feel unpaid, when loyalty becomes expected, when intimacy, real or imagined, gets tangled in ego and audience, things start to fall apart. And maybe that's what happened here. Like sex work, the TI community thrives on emotional labor, on attention, connection, and the illusion of trust. Roy thought he was building something real. Maybe he was. But if Ana blurred the line between ally and operator, then Roy's heartbreak might have been less about betrayal and more about payment withheld. Because even in this world of targeting and truth-seeking, the rule still stands. The money is always the bottom line. And when someone starts asking why they have to pay, the relationship is already over.